It's been roughly 33 years since Jesus ascended into heaven, and with every generation that passes since then, every generation seems to believe that Jesus will return at any time. And so the reality is Jesus hasn't returned yet, and so were the generations that came before us wrong? And when people say today that Jesus is coming soon, are they wrong? In today's video, I want to help you work through this issue. If you've ever wondered about this, when Christians say Jesus is coming soon, and so far he hasn't come in almost a couple thousand years, well, what do we do about this? Stay tuned, and I hope this is going to be helpful for you. Now, in the New Testament, there's a lot of different verses that I could pull up, but let me just share a couple with you that talk about Jesus returning soon. For example, we have Luke 12:40, which says, "You also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect." And maybe you've read the parable of the 10 virgins who had their lamps, and 5 of the virgins were foolish and 5 were wise. The 5 foolish virgins didn't prepare the oil for their lamp, and when the bridegroom came in the middle of the night, those 5 foolish virgins were not prepared because they didn't have any oil, while the wise virgins who prepared and were ready for any event that the bridegroom might come in the middle of the night, and he did, and they were ready and they were able to go in and meet him. And so likewise, we must also be ready for the Son of Man, Jesus Christ, to come, because we don't know the hour in which he will come. Another verse I want to share with you comes from Matthew 24, verse 36, which says, "But concerning that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father only." And so that's really interesting. Just from that verse, we gather that the angels don't know when Jesus is going to return, and not even Jesus himself. And we can really get into that. That one's a lot more complicated because, of course, Jesus is God, and so God is all-knowing. But I think the simplest way we could put this, just for now, for today's video, is that Jesus in his humanity chooses not to know the hour in which he will come. Okay, let me share one more verse with you. Now, this verse gets shared a lot, and I've heard this verse shared in relation with missions, and people essentially saying, we have to go out and evangelize to all the unreached people groups, because as soon as we do, Jesus will return. And so that's the only reason he hasn't come back yet. It's because we haven't reached every tribe in the world. And so Matthew 24:14 says, "And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come." And so it seems pretty clear. Those are the words of Jesus, by the way. He says that the gospel must be proclaimed to all peoples, and then the end will come. Now, something I want you to notice just in there, because even if this were true, I'm not saying 100% that it's not, but what I would say is the language is pretty intentional. If Jesus meant, well, once we evangelize to every single person on the face of this planet, or all the tribes rather, on the face of this planet, then I will come back immediately, I think he would have said that in those words. Well, what does he say? He says, "And then the end will come." And so there's actually no indication as far as how much time will pass. And so we might be living already in the reality that all tribes have been reached, because when the gospel was going forward in the early church, the world was much smaller in that sense. And so more people would have been reached. There's a lot we could say about this. To me personally, I don't think that we have to get so bogged down by the language of, well, as soon as we do this and we talk to every tribe that's out there today, right after Jesus is gonna return. He may return immediately, and he may not. He may wait another 1,000, 2,000 years, because it would still be true that happened, and then he came. There was just a gap of 2,000 years there. And so all I want to make the point here that we don't know when Jesus is going to return. We have no idea. And I think it's supposed to be that way. Just like the 5 wise virgins, we just need to be prepared, and we need to do what we were called to do along the way, which is, in our case, is to primarily worship God and enjoy him forever. And then secondly, to go out and preach this gospel to all nations, our family members, our classmates in school, the people that you see with your sports and your activities, whatever it might be. I hope that's helpful, because we really could start to look at this in a very strange way, and I think it could be distracting, where we think, well, I have to absolutely go out and we have to put all of our attention on reaching every single tribe, because then Jesus will come. I'm not saying don't do that. I am saying that I don't know that that's the call of the entire body of Christ. I think many of us are called to do missions work right here at home. And certainly there are others who are going to be called to go out to these unreached people groups. And so I hope that's helpful. We can get a lot more into this topic, but I just want to answer the simple question, is Jesus coming soon? And the answer is yes, that he is. We just don't know when that is going to be exactly. And so he is coming sooner than he was yesterday. And so be prepared, be alert, be sober-minded, live a life of worship, and you will be prepared for his coming. So I hope that was helpful for you. If it was, leave a like down below. Leave a comment about anything you could possibly want to leave a comment about down there. Always enjoy to see your comments, but I'll see you in the next one. God bless you. Love you. Peace.